If I hadn't looked through the peephole first, I might have pretended I wasn't home. Because standing in the dim hallway outside my apartment, at exactly 12:07 a.m., was the last person on earth I expected to see. My boss. Not during office hours. Not during a crisis meeting. Not behind a polished conference table. But here. At my door. With nowhere else to go. My name is Marcus Cole. I'm 29 years old. And for 6 years, my life has been defined by numbers, forecasts, and silence. I'm a financial analyst at Ashford Capital, a firm where stress is currency and sleep is optional. It's not the glamorous Wall Street fantasy people imagine. It's fluorescent lights, endless spreadsheets, and meetings where everyone nods like they understand, while secretly praying they don't get called on. I live alone in a one-bedroom apartment in East Baltimore. Thin walls. Crooked cabinets. A radiator that screams like it's dying every winter. It's not much, but after 12-hour days, it's the only place where no one asks me for projections or explanations. That night started like every other. I came home late. Dropped my bag. Loosened my tie. Microwaved leftovers I barely tasted. I was halfway through kicking off my shoes when my phone buzzed. A work email. I ignored it. Then there was a knock. Not loud. Not urgent. 3 soft, deliberate taps. I froze. Nobody visits me. Especially not after midnight. Another knock. Same rhythm. I checked the time again, 12:07 a.m. My heart started beating faster as I moved toward the door. I didn't turn on the light. I didn't make a sound. I leaned in and looked through the peephole. And that's when my stomach dropped. Evelyn Hart. Senior Managing Director at Ashford Capital. My boss. The woman who could dismantle careers with a raised eyebrow. She looked nothing like the version of her I knew. No sharp blazer. No immaculate hair. No commanding posture. She was wearing a dark coat over casual clothes. Her hair was loose, slightly messy. Her face, pale. Tired. Guarded. And for the first time since I'd known her. She looked unsure. I unlocked the door before I could talk myself out of it. Marcus, she said quietly. I'm sorry to show up like this. My mouth opened. No sound came out. I know this is inappropriate, she continued. But I didn't know where else to go. I stepped aside without thinking. She walked in slowly, like she was entering unfamiliar territory. Which, in a way, she was. My apartment was small. There was nowhere to hide the reality of my life, unmatched furniture, stacks of reports on the coffee table, a half-dead plant in the corner. She glanced around but didn't comment. Can I stay tonight? She asked. Her voice cracked just slightly. I have nowhere else to go. Those words hit harder than any deadline ever had. I nodded. Of course, I said. Yeah. I mean, yes. She exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for miles. I offered her the couch. She declined politely. I won't sleep much anyway, she said. That should have been my first warning. She sat at my small kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug of tea she hadn't touched. I stood across from her, unsure where to put myself. This doesn't leave this apartment, she said. I nodded again. I won't ask questions, I added quickly. Her eyes met mine. I didn't say you couldn't, she replied. Silence stretched between us. Finally, she spoke. Do you know what happens when the person who holds everything together finally breaks? She asked. I didn't answer. People don't notice at first, she continued. They just feel the absence. She looked down at her hands. Tonight, she said, I realized how alone I actually am. That sentence changed everything. Because in that moment, she wasn't my boss. She wasn't powerful. She wasn't untouchable. She was human. And I had no idea what letting her stay would cost me. I thought letting her stay would end the tension. I was wrong. Because the moment the door closed behind her, the power dynamic didn't disappear. It mutated. Evelyn Hart sitting at my kitchen table wasn't the woman who dominated boardrooms. But she also wasn't just a guest. She was something far more dangerous. Vulnerable power. I cleared my throat. You can take the bed if you want. I'll sleep on the couch. She looked up slowly. No, she said. That wouldn't be appropriate. The word appropriate hung between us like a legal clause. I'm already crossing enough lines tonight. I nodded, relieved, and disappointed, which scared me more than anything. I grabbed a blanket and set it on the couch, trying to focus on the mechanics of hospitality instead of the fact that my boss was 10 feet away in my apartment at midnight. She stood and walked toward the window. From there, you could barely see the harbor lights if you angled your head just right. She stared at them like they were something she'd lost. You live simply, she said. Efficiently, I corrected. A faint smile appeared. The first one I'd ever seen that wasn't calculated. Do you know, she said, how rare it is for someone in this city to be content with enough? I shrugged. You learn to lower expectations. She turned to face me. Or you learn what actually matters. That caught me off guard. I sat on the edge of the couch, keeping distance. Keeping rules. Do you want to talk about why you're here? I asked carefully. She hesitated. Then she did something I never imagined. She took off her coat. Not slowly. Not dramatically. Like she was shedding armor she was tired of carrying. I was fired, she said. The words didn't compute. You, what? I asked. I was forced out, she clarified. Board vote. Quiet. Efficient. My chest tightened. You run half the firm, I said. They can't just. They can, she interrupted. And they did. Silence crashed down hard. I spent 15 years building leverage, she continued. And it still wasn't enough. She sat across from me again, elbows on the table. I couldn't go home, she said. Not tonight. Something shifted in me. This wasn't just a story anymore. It was a fracture. What happens now? I asked. She looked at me, not like a boss. Not like a strategist. Like a woman standing at the edge of freefall. I don't know, she admitted. And that terrifies me. I swallowed. You can stay as long as you need, I said before thinking. Her eyes widened just a fraction. That's a dangerous offer, she said softly. So is showing up at your employee's door at midnight, I replied. A beat. Then she laughed. A quiet, genuine laugh that didn't belong in boardrooms. You're braver than you look, Marcus, she said. I don't feel brave, I admitted. I feel involved. Her gaze lingered on me. That, she said, is exactly why I came here. The air changed again. Not charged. Not romantic. Intimate. And that's when I realized something unsettling. Letting her stay wasn't about shelter. It was about connection. And once that door opens, it doesn't close cleanly. I lay down on the couch later, staring at the ceiling, listening to the faint sounds of her moving around in the other room. My apartment had never felt smaller. Or more dangerous. Because tomorrow, she wouldn't just be my boss anymore. She'd be my secret. And secrets always come due.